Hi everyone, this is Julia Chow. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got an amazing guest with me, my client Francesca Valentina, who's created some tremendous results. Francesca is an executive director for a not-for-profit and also an organizational stabilization expert as a consultant. What she's doing right now is that she is working half the time of what a normal work hour is supposed to be in a week, so 20 hours a week, and getting paid six-figure salary of an executive. At the same time, she's got the extra 20 hours a week to consult for other organizations to operate as an external consultant in a role similar to what a COO would be doing. So this is the tremendous outcome that she was able to command. She is able to present her value because she believes in herself. And not only that, she is able to receive the goodness without questioning it. These are tremendous results, and this is the foundation of any success that anybody will create. To many people, she may seem like somebody who's always been successful. She must have had something done for her, right? She must have had privilege. But what people don't realize is that trauma is invisible. Trauma is hidden. These are invisible blocks. Francesca is a success story, unlike anything I've ever heard before. She was a foster child. She had a lot of adversity. She never had stability growing up. She really fended for herself and built her life to where she is. She had worked in not-for-profit since the beginning of her career. And now she's here commanding her value, commanding her worth, and she is manifesting everything that she could possibly imagine that she's always deserved. And I know more people than I can imagine can relate to her story. So with that said, now we're going to turn the focus to Francesca Valentina, and she's going to tell us all about the amazing success she had working with me, where she was before, how she got that outcome, and any advice for those of you who want to make similar traction and success to elevate into your greatness. So Francesca, thank you so much for being here despite your busy schedule. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Julia, for having me. I am so excited to talk about the work that we did together, the transformation that I saw almost immediately, and the transformation that I continue to have as I continue to dive in and dig into, the work and myself. So thank you again.
Thank you, Francesca.
Not only have I been able to really process and heal through, honestly, decades of trauma and adversity, I have been able to actualize all of really my professional goals, my personal goals, and really become and really embrace the person that I know that I can be. And so one very tangible outcome is that I have leapt into starting my own business. And so I have started my own consulting firm or company. And so I am doing that as an organizational stabilization expert. And I have also really honestly said no to all the things that were not serving me. So prior to starting my own business, I was in a pretty toxic work environment and really kind of living in a lot of the behaviors and a lot of the trauma responses that I didn't even know were there. But those were some of the things that you helped unpack. And so by saying no to those things and leaving that job and leaving that environment, almost 24 hours later, the universe literally opened up and provided me an opportunity to dive headfirst into a consulting job. And now I am not only doing my own business, but I also have an executive director position with a nonprofit in San Francisco. And so it's that also is just so aligned with my purpose, my intent, with the work that they're doing as their mission. And so it really is an amazing outcome that I didn't even think was possible. And so that's very one tangible outcome. I would say another is my relationship between me and my children. I am a single co-parenting mother. I definitely have the majority of the parenting, in my divorced relationship. And the relationship with me and my children, it struggled. I struggled, they struggled, and there was turmoil, and we couldn't understand really where it was coming from. And what the core of that was. And through a lot of our work together, by uncovering those behaviors and those patterns, I recognize not only how they show up at my work and in work relationships, but how they show up in my personal relationships and how they show up in the way that I present myself to my children and how I respond and react to them. And by really diving into that, and some of those were, really hard conversations, but as we dug in and as we really uncovered and really unpacked a lot of the trauma, a lot of the responses that I had because of that trauma, I've been able to change my behavior. And one thing that I remember from our work is behavior creates habit.
Yeah.
Habit creates personality. And that is like, it's mind blowing to me because that, but right. Like it's kind of something that you've heard, you learn, but when you start to almost work backwards from it, right? Like the outcome that I wanted was calm, caring, compassionate, fun, joyful relationships with my children. And so to work backwards from there, right? And to say, okay, what is needed in order to make that happen?
Yeah.
And that's where the work was, right? That's where we unpacked so much of the things that I was carrying, that I didn't even know that they were, a response to some of those traumas and some of those situations that I went through, as a young child.
Yeah.
And so that's, two really tangible outcomes. And I'd say the third is my confidence. I have been all my life a people pleaser. I have been someone that in my trauma response just, overworked, overdid, overcompensated, over explained myself, all of it.
Yeah.
And through this work, I have been able to adapt and really practice how to be a more concise communicator, how to show up with confidence, how to stop apologizing so much, because there's nothing for me to apologize for if I haven't caused harm or hurt. So that confidence and that standing in my truth and standing in what I know is my strength is something that I've always looked up to. It's always something that I wanted to aspire to, and I never knew how to do it. And the work together that we did got me to that space where I feel like I am naturally stepping into my confidence, and I am like realizing my, my full potential and my full capability, which is a really empowering feeling. Because I've never had it before. As you mentioned, I grew up in the foster care system and I aged out. And so that is a process in which you are really deemed an adult at 18 and really kind of thrown out and said, okay, that's it. And so I moved to the Bay Area with $500 to my name, a bag full of kitchen Tupperware and an acceptance letter to San Francisco State University. And from there, I really did, build my career, build my skill set from the ground up. But it was adversity after adversity after adversity, because I carried all of that trauma, which, really, if you, were to look at the ACEs test, I checked off every single box of the ACEs. So that's a solid, score of 10. And so that's a lot of adversity. That's a lot of trauma. That's a lot of abuse. That's a lot of neglect. It's abandonment. It's all of the things that, as I was growing up, I won't put this on anybody else's experience, but my own experience, I just kind of pushed that away and was like, well, that was just in my childhood. So I'm just going to put it over here and I'm not going to address it. And I'm just going to keep trucking along, and it's that driver, right? It's that trauma response of, I just keep doing, performing.
Overworking, workaholism, right? As a way of avoidance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And until, some really major events, coupled with my trauma. So having children, right? So becoming a mother without a solid understanding of what a mother is supposed to be, without a solid,
because you are not parented.
Exactly. And so not having that parental figure, parental understanding, it's beyond shooting from the hip for me. It's like I was again, living in that trauma response all day long with my kids. And then coupled with a divorce and, you know, some other very traumatic work experiences where one of the things that I think you helped me really uncover was this, my trauma response is attracting this narcissistic, egotistical, toxic environment. And
selfish people too.
Incredibly
Personal
selfish,
life. Mm-hmm.
right? Because they know that they can feed off of my trauma. They can feed off of, oh, she's a people pleaser. She's going to say yes. She's going to give us her blood, sweat, and tears. And doing it for pennies on the dollar, you know, really doing it for not what I was worth, you know, definitely. And so
workaholism paired with not much production, not getting enough back, no reciprocity.
Exactly.
But also that translated into your personal relationships too, because you were experiencing that in your love, intimacy, some level friendships.
Yep. I especially with my marriage, I didn't realize honestly until you and I started doing the work, the similarities between the traits of my ex-husband and what caused us to get the divorce, and how those were so related to the toxic work environments and to some of the abusers in my life, you know, some of the people that really caused me a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. And through our work together, I uncovered things that were so hidden, Julia. I didn't even know if they were real, if it was something that I was just imagining and feeling, or was this something that was real? And to be able to go that deep into inside, right? And to, again, dissolve it, unpack it, get through it. You have to go through it. That's one thing that you really taught me, is that there is no other way around the healing of trauma. You have to go through it, and to go through it with you in a very safe space was really, it's priceless. I mean, I've been in therapy my whole life. I've tried every alternative method of healing, from studying at an ashram to getting, you know, sound and breath work and energy work. And none of it was able to, as fast as we got results, nothing was able to get me to the space that I am right now, which is, I'm still on my healing journey, but I am so much more aware of the areas that I need to focus on and the areas that I need to avoid, right? Like those areas that are just going to re-trigger me, and how to navigate through them, right? And how to, with elegance and grace and with ease, to be able to navigate through those environments and those situations, so they don't penetrate me, you know, they don't penetrate my soul, right? Because that's really, I think, the work that we did, is we did deep soul work.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of repressed memories come up, which is very typical.
Yeah.
And then people start to question, because it is repressed for a reason, because you love the person, right? Because a lot of times it's family or people who we deem as family that have caused harms, but those people are still in your life, and there's a part of you that still needs to make happen. So the invisible blocks that people often talk about is not managing those relationships properly, not having proper boundaries there. Also preferring to have repressed memories rather than facing it, because the truth is just way too hard, right? So anytime someone has I can't control my mind, or I feel tired and I lack motivation, I can't get work done, I believe I deserve much more and I have the potential, but I can't make it happen. It really has to do with the depth of what we work through. It has to do with how your mind is currently using trauma responses to live life. That's the best way we can put it, right? Yeah. And how much what you think is your personality, what you think are your core beliefs, are tied to being a trauma reaction without us knowing that, without us being able to acknowledge that. So much of our reality, personality is tied to unhelpful, unhappy past experiences. And then we're reliving through that in our present, right? Living in the past while living in the present through the lens of the past. So when you start to become aware of things, you can start to shatter those paradigms and start creating a new life for yourself, which is exactly what you did. That's why you can have these tremendous results. That's why you can feel free. exactly where you are.
Yeah.
It's freedom.
I think the thing that is the most important for me in the process was acknowledging all of those things, that all of the traits, all of the behaviors that I thought were a part of my core, a part of who I am, a part of my value system. We were able to literally break them down and be like, nope, that was a trauma response. Nope, that was an injustice response. Nope, that was, you being too codependent. That was no. And it's like, oh my gosh. So there was this.
Then who am I?
Exactly. I mean, and I remember that in the process where I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a child again. I feel like I'm discovering who I am and what I believe in. What are my values? What is my driving, force? And to go through again that process in a safe container, in a safe space, to be able to talk it out and to really process through, and for you to give tangible, not only examples, but assignments and things for me to focus on and things for me to pay attention to. These were the ways that I was able to create the behavior, right? And change the behavior, which then turned into the habit, which is forming my personality, and my personality that is truest to my core, truest to myself, and truest to the conscious, individual and conscious leader that I want to be, both in my personal life and in my professional life.
Yeah. It was really affecting your leadership, because you were leading maybe 70 something people as your subordinates. I mean, it was a huge amount of responsibility that you were undertaking. And so if you are reacting from your trauma, you're not able to lead in a way that is it is for the best outcome. It is for the best interest of the people you're leading as well, not just the organization.
Exactly. And that was, I think, the biggest learning curve for me as well. That's where I struggled the most, because my identity was so tied to my work. It was so tied to doing for others rather than doing for myself. And it was that flip of the mindset that really helped me embrace and embody that saying that we always say to people: you got to put the mask on yourself before you put it on anybody else, right? You can say that all you want, but to really embody it and to really live it and to really have that be your core, there's a lot of work that you have to do, right?
Yeah.
To put that mask on yourself first, and to think that you're worthy of that, to think that you're enough, to think that you deserve to be taken care of first, right? These are all things that in a normal, loving, stable family and foundation, that those things would be embedded, right? Those are ethics and morals and values that are brought into a family unit that is, healthy. But given, my past environment, none of that was inherent.
Absolutely.
What was inherent for me was fear. I was operating out of a place of fear, because I thought everyone and everything was out to get me and abuse me and hurt me, and so to, again, really dig into that and really, it's like flip it on its head, and shake it up and figure out what is real, what isn't, and to realize that so many of that, or so much of that rather, was not real. It's based out of fear. It's based out of a response and a reaction, rather than the way that I truly want to show up in the world.
Powerful results.
Yeah.
This is really about owning your personal power and owning your potential, right? Because as a nice person, you are giving your power away. And when you are nice or you overgive, you are basically saying you don't have to respect me nor value me. And there is a part of us, when it's a trauma response, you think that the more you give, you're going to get something back, and it doesn't happen. And with that expectation, you keep giving where there is no end to giving, because you're just not going to get back. That's not how power dynamics work. So you're not following the law of human nature, but then wanting to get results. So in a nutshell, I would say you really owned the laws of human nature and what it takes to have a fair power dynamic, to be a fair conscious leader. how to be a celebrated leader, where to tighten up, and where to have parameters that are clearly set and to not budge there rather than shape-shifting based on what people are feeling, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tremendous results. And this is why you see your income skyrocket, your time becoming freed up, having more harmony at home. Tremendously powerful results that you are creating from shifting the deep beliefs that you didn't even know were influencing you. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, especially in the income as a woman, right?
I relate. Yeah.
To stand in that, no, this is what I'm worth. This is what you're going to pay me. And I'm going to walk away from things that won't value me for what I'm worth. And then to name what my goal is, right, in the next 5 years, and to name that number and to say, no, I am going to get there, and to not feel guilty about it, to not have this like scarcity mindset that I just don't deserve it because of X, Y, or Z,
or that nothing else will be available later.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. That yes, that was such a big shift for me. And it was, I didn't realize how much that scarcity mindset influenced not only my worth in economic, value, but in relationships, in decision making, in all of that, right? When that scarcity mindset, which is again rooted in fear, when you live out that, that's what's going to be around you. That's what manifests. But if you believe in this abundance, if you believe that you are worth everything that you deserve and more, that is when it's the law of attraction, right?
Yeah. Floodgates open up.
Yes, they completely open up. And it was amazing how I saw that within 24 hours of that big no, I'm stepping into the unknown. I know I deserve more, and I'm going to leave this environment, and I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to step into my own business, and then to get the opportunity, honestly, like of a lifetime, to be able to work with an organization that is so tied to, not only my own personal values, but to working within, the system to create change specifically
helping
for
foster kids.
Yes.
It's like your life purpose.
Exactly. That's my community.
They offered you a 6-figure salary working half the time of a normal position.
Yep. It's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's one of those stories that it just feels like magic, right?
Yeah. It really does. And to be able to partner, again, with individuals who are of a like mindset, who, have done their own healing, done their own work, and are on their own journey, it really makes it so much more meaningful. It's,
Everybody's confident until you have to let go of something. Then you shrivel up, So everyone's confident until say, okay, well, you don't really have anything lined up, but this is really toxic for you. So you got to leave the spouse. People stop right there. It's like, you know what? I'll just make it work. And then you keep feeding into the toxicity. Are you really valuing yourself there? Or in Francesca's case, this work environment that's paying you a 6-figure salary is not healthy. It's not valuing you. It's not respecting you. It's not creating an environment where what you do and the efforts you put in, it's going to grow. So then when you say no, when you can walk away from that, this is the part where I've seen multiple people do not walk away from, because they can't trust what's going to happen tomorrow. They can't trust within themselves that they are the ones that make things happen. Things are not happening to them. You are creating the outcome. You applied for that job. You said yes to that job. They gave you that position because you participated in it. So what happens when you stop participating and start looking for something that's going to give you the abundance that you keep saying that you deserve? When people can't walk away, life doesn't change. When they cannot let go, and you let go, and the way you let go wasn't erratic, right? There's a scarce way of letting go. Being like a teenager and being rebellious. I deserve better. I'm just going to quit and not going to work. That is not letting go. That's being entitled. The way you let go was peaceful, it was mature, it was coming from the right place. And then when you let go, 24 hours later, you got this amazing position where they even said, you can consult Francesca. You deserve all the abundance you deserve.
The participation piece that you just mentioned, it's, you know, I remember sitting in that space with you, grappling with the decision. And, you know, and we really talked about, you know, okay, am I getting what I need from this environment? And I remember that was really a big question that kept reoccurring, you know, am I getting what I need from this environment? And then there was a moment where we both, you know, we had this conversation. It was like, yep, you've gotten everything that you need from this place. And this
which was awareness.
Yes, exactly.
Because you need an environment or a life situation to use it as like a textbook.
Yep.
Like this is happening right now. When you learn to process it properly, you upgrade, right? So you had done already enough upgrade in that environment. There was nothing more for you to learn from there.
Yep.
We're done.
Yep. And I'm very proud of the way that I exited. It was a very graceful exit.
It was a graceful exit. Yes, it was maturely done.
Yeah. And I, you know, whether it was through my influence or just, you know, by nature of, you know, humans waking up when things happen. You know, I know that the organization is going through a major shift right now. Lots of individuals have done the same and stepped up and said no, you know,
they're saying no. It takes one person. That's a true sign of a leader. People were looking up to you. They may have not said anything. And then when a fine leader quits, people follow. I've experienced this myself too.
Yeah. And so it's been really great to actually from the sideline watch it and also know that my influence, whether it be, you know, immediate or, you know, in the future is both strong, but it's true. You know, I have been authentic. You know, I am a what you see is what you get kind of person. And so, you know, I never shifted my authenticity, but I dove deeper into it. And I think that's what resonated the most with folks is that I really showed up, and even on my last day, you know, showing up in that authentic space. And again, that grace and that executive presence, you know, are all things that you and I were able to really hone in on. And so instead of burning a bridge, I've been able to, you know, keep them in my network, right? And could even, you know, work with them through a consulting lens to say, hey, these are the things that you really need to work on as an organization if you really want to be successful, right? And to be able to have that honest space and conversation. So it's not only a closing of a chapter, it's almost like a new chapter with a new version of me that is like new and improved, you know, that I got my superpowers and I'm back.
Francesca 2.0.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. So just to wrap this conversation up, because you've shared so many nuggets of wisdom, I really appreciate you for opening up and being so honest and true when it comes to talking about your experience. You're not just saying, you know, it's magic, but you're saying it does take work. It takes ownership of yourself, right? It takes self-leadership to be able to lead others. Amazing points. What are some advice that you can give you to anyone or for anyone who either comes from a lot of adversity like you or someone who wants to create a similar career trajectory?
First and foremost, I would say if there is any doubt on jumping into the work, lean into that. Lean into the curiosity and into the doubt, but lean into it with an open mind and really go into it. I remember, especially when I was thinking about working with you, how there were a few times I kind of grappled with it. And it was when I listened to a few of your videos, and there was one video about the scarcity mindset, moving that to an abundance mindset that really to me was like, okay, this is the person that I need to work with because they get it. They understand. And for me, my advice would be, to anyone that is grappling with, am I worth it? Should I do this? Does this really work? You know what? It works if you want it to work. It works if you put in the work. It works if you believe in yourself and you believe in Julia. I truly, I think one of the most beautiful things about working with you was knowing that not only was this a safe space, but it was a space where I was seen, heard, and felt at a cellular level, because you understand, because you have your own story.
Mm-hmm.
And that connection is beyond anything that you're going to get at any type of self-help book or, seminar or therapy. This is true cellular work that is going to create change. So if you're ready for change, if you're ready to be that better version of yourself and that true version of yourself, to jump in head first, lean into the curiosity, lean into the discomfort, lean into the unknown, because that's where beauty happens. That's where all the magic happens. If we sit in this space of, this is the way we've always done it. It's just like at organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Ask why, and then ask why again. And then keep asking why. Why do you do this? Why? Okay, why? Okay, why? Because then you're going to get down to the core. And that core, that root cause, is where you help unpack the work, and you help guide, and you help create those, those behavior changes. In that phase of, if folks are grappling, whether or not to dig into the work, or, the cost of it, or the time commitment, or whatever, the ROI that you get, right? That return on investment in yourself, when you say, is it worth to spend this money to do this work? My answer is hell yes, it is. Because the return on investment is not only financial, right? I have been able to manifest not only, the income that I want, but the work environment that I want, the time that I want to be able to generate for both my personal and my professional. But the investment on who I am, right? And how I show up in those spaces is priceless. Yeah. And so I know that folks, I did it. I grappled with it, right? Am I worth this? I've never spent, like, this is, you're talking to someone who will go shopping at Ross, like, I will be someone that I've always, in that scarcity mindset, I'm not worth it. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to spend money on myself. I work so hard. We all work so hard for the money that we earn. Mm-hmm. We should, and you can absolutely invest in yourself. It is worth it. It's hard work, but anything that is worth it is going to be hard. It's going to take effort. Yes. Nothing in life comes easy that has longevity, that has real, tangible outcomes that you can be proud of. And to be able to stand back and say, I am so proud of the work that I've done. I'm so proud of the fact that I invested in myself and then reinvested in myself. And I just keep doubling down. And every time I do it, the universe literally gives me back tenfold. It is just like, I take one step and the universe is like, here, I'm going to catapult you 10 steps forward, and so that is a piece that I really, oh my gosh, like I cannot recommend enough.
It's life-giving.
It is.
Until you have the results. And this is why I think it's challenging for people to invest in themselves in something like this, because until you have the results, you don't realize that you weren't living before. You're existing. You're struggling through, rushing from one place to another.
The rushing, that's
a trauma response. The rushing is not addressed enough. Workaholism and rushing are not addressed enough as trauma responses. Mm-hmm.
That was probably one of the biggest mind blowers for me, was recognizing that fast-paced, I need to get everything done, was living in this trauma response, and to be able to kind of breathe and create the space in between, right, your emotions and your feelings, so that you can make sound decisions that
Yes.
are rooted in your values, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's the work. That's in the essence. That is what you helped me create.
Making good decisions for yourself for long-term benefits, not short-term, I need to feel better right now. When you're in a rush, there's no time to reflect and think.
Exactly. And that investment, that is the key. It's not, this isn't an expense, right? It is an investment in yourself and in the future and in the person and in the life that you want. That's where I would, really recommend folks to lean into. Because if you're doing things because this is the way you've always done it, there's a better way, and there's a way that is more aligned with your value system and more aligned with the goals that you see for yourself, and to embody really being rich and loved, right? It's you get to create your own definition of what that means, right? And it's like, I am rich in resource, I am rich in like in the depths of the knowledge and the compassion and everything else that I was able to uncover with you. And I am loved. I love myself. Like I was able to look in the mirror the other day and look at myself in my eyes, and for the first time say I love you, and and really mean it. And I felt it in my core. I started crying, because it was I I was able to see myself for the beauty and the richness and the loving individual that I am. And so if you're struggling, if you're grappling, if you want change, if you know if you don't understand why you keep getting the same results but you're trying different things, right? You think that you're trying, you're showing up in a different way but you keep getting the same results. That's the sign right there that this is the work that is for you, because nothing's going to change if you don't change your behavior, if you don't change how you show up. And in order to change that, you got to unpack the why, and that's the work that you do. And that's the magic. So I would highly recommend anyone to dig in and dive into this, because the results are everything that you want them to be. We have that power. We have that that alchemy, right? We are our own alchemists of our world and of our creation.
Thank you so much for sharing your amazing wisdom, Francesca, your powerful transformation journey, which I know so many people, more than we can imagine, can relate to. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you so much, Julia.